So most African Americans came during the slave trade. Now, as you said, there was more countries involved in slavery than just America. There's the Caribbean. How about, like, were there slaves in Europe?
There weren't what you think of. I mean, even what you think of as slaves didn't start the way we think of as slaves, which is originally, if you go back to the earlier colonial period, it was much more the case that everyone involved in what we call slavery, or not everyone, but many of them were actually indentured servants. So they were people that were indentured. They were kind of, you know, they had to serve someone for a certain amount of time. At the end of that time, they were free to leave. And a lot of people did this, kind of the notion of apprentices, right? You
learn a trade?
You have a son, and you want him to do something. So when he gets to be 12 years old, you might essentially give him to a silversmith. And the silversmith would have him until he was about, you know, in his early 20s.
Okay.
And he wouldn't pay him, right? He'd feed him, but that was about it. He'd
like
work.
an unpaid internship today.
Yes, but worse.
Worse and longer.
Mortality was probably quite a bit higher. At the end of that time, that person would move on. A lot of people, the way they got to the New World was they essentially traded a certain number of years of service once they got here in exchange for the passage to the New World, because they wanted to get out of Europe. So initially, there was a lot of indentured servitude up and down the American colonies, and there was indentured servitude in Europe to a lesser extent than here. However, and so some of the early, even African Americans that were brought over, were indentured, and so after 10 years or whatever, they would become free, and they were called like free black men. But over time, it was found it was easier to essentially go to Africa and pick up a big ship full of slaves and bring them here.
So I got a question about that. So if you saw a ship coming and you're in Africa, wouldn't you like kind of run up the hills before getting gathered
in a sense
up?
you would, but even there was, there was commerce. There were people on the shores that were essentially rounding people up. And some of them were, some black tribes would capture other members of other black tribes and trade them
so they're like kidnapped
to the ships
and sold
for supplies.
Okay.
The Dutch had a famous triangle where they went to the New World. Well, what did they do? They started in Europe. They went down to Africa.
Right.
They traded finished goods. They took those off the ship. They traded them. They picked up slaves. They took the slaves to America. They offloaded the slaves. They picked up the raw materials from America, cotton and wood, took those back to England,
And then
offloaded them,
made finished goods.
picked up more finished goods. I mean, the American colonies originally there wasn't a lot of manufacturing here. We predominantly produced raw materials that got sent back to England or to Spain.
All right, we got to stop for a station break now. So when we come back, we're going to take your tweets and we're going to hear some music from Scott D. Davis. So don't go away. We'll be right back. Okay, we're clear.
Ooh, look.
Any tweets?
There are tweets. Scott says it's the best theme ever.
Best theme ever.
Woohoo!
Wow.
And
It's a lot of Scots.
Kerwin Alonzo wants to know where to get the shirts and turtlenecks.
Okay.
It's on the website.
Cohen Alonzo wants to know where they can get
Yeah. You got to tell him or her that
How
it's
can I
on
get
the website.
this T-shirt? Oh, it's not yet, but yeah, maybe we'll have T-shirts soon.
Oh, and she says I look very uncomfortable because I am terribly uncomfortable.
Look very uncomfortable.
NAACP's National Association
For the advancement of colored people.
Okay.
And I think the difference
You should not be
between
afraid
Egyptians and African Americans is that
to use any word.
African Americans are
really
sub-Saharan Africans.
Yeah.
as opposed to the-
Python routine. He said the word. Okay.
He said
and
the word. He said the word.
This is a cheesy topic.
Yeah. See,
Cheery
we
topic.
got 5 viewers now.
Obviously, but regarding
Wow,
that word,
sweet.
You obviously don't listen to rap music. So
No, we can't say it. I've heard it a
What
lot.
if we sang along to rap music? That's not allowed, eh? So Scott, you were like on Shiprocked recently. You played with like Cinderella and who else?
Cinderella, Tesla, Vince Neil of Motley Crue.
Wow, that sounds cool.
Oh, it was
a
blast.
person.
It was like being on a big luxury pirate ship. It was totally rad.
How did John rope you into this then? How did John rope you into this? How the mighty have fallen, I guess, is my point.
This is a good platform for emerging
he knows some secrets about me, so you know we're not going to talk about those since I showed up. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, well,
he's got some stuff on me too.
It's indentured servitude, basically. Yeah.
All right, we're coming back from the break.
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And we're back! And now we're going to hear some rockin' piano from Scott D. Davis. This is your time for your 4-minute song.
Oh, it is? Oh, all right. Well.
Some more from Scott D. Davis.
That was fantastic. I'm kind of out of breath now. Actually.
Is that on one of your CDs?
Yes. That's
which one's that?
That's on Pianotarium, Piano Tribute to Metallica. It's an original that I composed at the end because that album was really a struggle to make. And
wow.
when I finally got done with all the work on it, I was, really inspired and maybe a little bit angsty, and I said, okay, I'm gonna compose something inspired by working on Metallica's music. So
that was great.
There it is. It's called Inner Battle.
You can catch Scott live in concert February 26th in Laguna Niguel, which is in Orange County.
Yeah, it's in the OC.
If you go to his website, inspiringpiano.com, you can find out all his tour dates. We have tweets.
We do have tweets.
We have tweets. We have lots of tweets.
Stunned.
A pile of tweets.
I mean, most of them are from a guy you paid to tweet, but
They're from my friends, because my friends like the show. So I'll just read out some of the best ones. How can I get John Wants Answers t-shirt and turtlenecks? I didn't realize anybody would want such things. But now that I know, maybe we'll make some and put them on the website. Best theme ever, says Scott Canaster. So NAACP is the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Good thing we have Twitter. We can fix this stuff
Twitter,
up.
they can fix this kind of stuff.
Scott Canaster says you should not be afraid to use any word. True, but we are afraid to use.
Yeah, we're terrified.
Yeah, we're terrified. And that's, I think, the most interesting stuff to talk about. Bring Scott Davis on for another show.
Kerwin Lozo
Cool.
says she didn't see the commercial break.
Really?
We should look at. We should
We should look into that and make sure we're not screwing stuff
Because
up.
if we're not getting the commercials, we're not getting revenue.
Did I put the wrong?
I mean, you and I won't be paid if you lost the topic, didn't you?
I've lost the topics. Where'd they go? Hold on.
Meteorology is the study of what causes weather.
All right, we're back, and that was our tweets. Okay,
Now
we have like 2 minutes, so
skip ahead.
we
skip
have like
ahead.
no time for any of this.
No.
Okay, so USA wasn't a country yet when slavery came in. So how was it that this colony, half of it was slave states and half were free slaves?
It didn't start out that way, actually. I mean, originally there was slavery and indentured servitude up and down everywhere. They had slaves in Boston.
Oh, everywhere, okay.
It just so happened that early on during the Revolution, most of what we call the northern non-slave states outlawed slavery for various reasons by the early 1800s. And
Right.
that left the southern states. I mean, the other thing was slavery didn't really take off in the South until after the discovery of cotton that they could grow inland on big plantations where they needed huge amounts of labor.
This is terrible, but I have to cut you off
You're cutting
then.
me
We're
off
out of
again.
time. We're out of time. I had so much more to talk about, and it's a disservice to the African Americans that we only got that far. So I'm very sorry. Our next show is March 10th. So come back, and we're going to leave with more Scott D. Davis. So thanks for watching.
You don't need the colons.
Can we pull it?
You don't need the colons. I guess not. I'm not in the credits at all, am I?
No.
I got nothing.
No, we had a tag under your name. And we talked. We're like over now. This is not airing, I don't think.